Good morning and welcome back to a new day of opportunity. I'm your coach, Nick Ando, and today we're getting back on the podcast so we can bring you guys some information, some value, and some stories about my getting into all the sectors of fitness that I'm in currently. See if it can give you any tips and tricks, any advice that would help you get started, stay in there, and keep going at your goals. So let's start it off. Starting off your fitness journey, like any journey, honestly, is just really tough. Constant feelings of being the small fish in a big pond is like the backbone of every fitness journey. I remember first going to the gym in this new era of gym culture and felt like roadkill, barely hanging on to life while vultures feed off me. From my fear and anxiety in the gym. I was lonely. I was a newbie. I was anxious, and I bought some $30 program off of somebody that impressed me with a lift offline. I should say online. Some $30 program that brought me near zero gains and again dissuaded me from the gym. I had been dissuaded in the past, in and out of sports my whole life, rebellion into skateboarding, rebellion from the gym. I was just running, doing push-ups, sit-ups, everything I could. But I couldn't stay in the gym. And it wasn't until 2018, 2019, my influences were becoming more and more strength athletes. Kind of always had a small obsession with the world's strongest man athletes, and in that time frame saw guys like Eddie Hall, Thor, even some of the classics, Vern Magnuson, and some of those guys quickly became my go-to inspiration. And that's where the desire to be stronger began to cultivate. But, things still scared me, bro. Like, there's so many firsts on a fitness journey, especially as you enter new sectors of fitness. Bodybuilding, powerlifting, coaching, hit fitness class instructors, spin. You can go CrossFit route, Olympic lifting, strongman, etc. But yeah, things still scared me. I felt small, I felt inexperienced, and this one maybe some of you guys will relate to. I felt extremely self-conscious of how I operated every slight movement of my body while I was in the gym. I mean, if my head turned wrong, I thought I was doing the wrong thing. If I messed up on a workout, like I'm doing chest press with 70-pound dumbbells, and probably too heavy for me at the time, but I'm trying to yak it up into the air. And, while you're doing it, you're paying less attention to the actual motion, the actual movement, the actual muscle that you're working out. You're paying attention to Sally and Joe watching you from the corner. You think they're judging you. Chances are they're probably watching you out of admiration. But nonetheless, that's how I felt. And I was always looking around, worried that everyone was like watching me and judging me and criticizing me. And things were hard. I constantly thought I should be able to do certain weight ranges for certain exercises, when in reality, those ranges at the time were far too great for my capacity, or even my understanding of how to properly do those exercises. I was always thinking and believing I had to be and do everything perfect, or suffer the thought that I was in the wrong place and did not belong. Even now, sometimes. Maybe less now. Maybe less now. I might be lying about that. But to a slight degree. But in my early stages, I was an outsider, bro. I was skate rebel coming back into the gym. I was an outsider. I was an imposter. But I tell you what, man, I kept at it. Slowly built up some consistency, and most importantly, purpose. I developed goals. I had something I desired to achieve to bring me back into the gym. Something I wanted to prove to myself or wanted to prove to others, whatever it might be. It put that chip on my shoulder and it got me to come back. It had me coming back. And speaking of chip on my shoulder, I felt like I had a chip on my shoulder just because I always felt like my back was against the wall. Dang alarms. But I felt like I had a chip on my shoulder because I always felt like I had my back against the wall, you know? And it took me a long time to feel like I was in the right place. Now, it was a weird time period, too, because 2019, I mean, especially the latter half, that's just months before COVID lockdown went into place. And I was in New York at the time, so, I mean, everything shut down. Everything shut down. And I had to make do with what I had at my house, which is honestly like a semi blessing in disguise. I didn't have to go to the gym. I didn't have to worry about all those anxieties and self conscious thoughts when I went into the gym. I could just kind of like finally be me and go nuts and have a raucous time working out and throw weights around and huff salts and throw pre-workout at my face instead of politely dry scooping it. But I had this back courtyard area and just this super janky, like inch thick bar that you had to screw the clamp onto, and I had so many different styles of plates. I think the bar capped at like, I don't know, 255 or 275, somewhere around there. And I used that. It was a bench. It was like one of those stuck in place bench machines. But it could definitely yield the type of person that has long arms. So I would put the bench J hooks all the way up as high as they could go to the last setting before it like came out of the machine. And I would literally do my squats from there. So I would unrack it, had like a lip, maybe this big on the back when you're throwing the bar back from your bench press to rack it. So I would take it from the opposite side because the bench was attached to it. I would have to go to the opposite side, the head of the bench, with the bench in my way, and unrack the weight for my squats. And that was probably it was super sketch, but it was probably the most dangerous thing I was doing. Anyway, I capped the bar at 255, ran a program from some influencer online, and then started my own block of just madness, just absolute madness. I would I would throw the weight around, but that's regardless, Uh, and so I had to progress to a maximum of 255 or let's say 265 on every rep. And once I got there, I was just doing sets and reps at that weight for all my lifts. I was doing it for bench. I was doing it for squat. I was doing it for deadlifts. I was doing sets of 12, bro. That was some ridiculous stimulus that I was putting into myself. But it's just funny to do one weight every day for all three lifts. And it's funny because like I wasn't even into necessarily powerlifting at the time. I loved bench pressing. I was forced to squat, and deadlifting I was a big fan of. It was like the quintessential strength movement to earn your stripes. So deadlift was my thing. But I mean a 255, a 255 pound limit and cap on everything. It was really funny. I remember putting that thing all over my property and just doing the squats I had to do right there. But then finally, 2018, 2019 time, I was studying for my certification with NASM to get personal training, to get a personal trainer's training done and get my certification so I could think about starting to help people. I had done a massive, improperly done cut. I've had some food troubles in the past that added into that horrible way of losing weight. But I did it. We got down from like 265 at the time, but like 35% fat, maybe even 40. All the way down to like 195. It was like 8% body fat. It was ridiculous. But it might have been 6 at one point. I got down to like 195, 193. And that was a little too far from 200 for my body. My organs were like, no. So we got back up to 200, and that was like a healthy weight for me at the time. And again, like I said, my influences were guys like Shaw, Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, Hafthor Bjornsson, Mark Felix, who are my boys, Tom and Luke Stoltman, all these guys, they all had their YouTube stuff going on. So it was like they already trained at home, and it was a lot of fun to watch. They were very entertaining, and it was strength. So it was a big bowl of all the things that I wanted to see and watch and emulate all in one place. So I was watching those dudes as my influence, and I didn't really have Atlas stones or log presses or anything like that in my backyard. So I was just doing compounds, bench, squat, bench, deadlift. And that was like a precursor. I had zero interest in powerlifting. I had no recollection, idea, or concern of what the hell it was or why anyone would do that when you could just go to the gym and not have to, like, I don't know. I think about it differently now, but like not have to train for a sport. You just go in, accomplish your goals, look sick, go home, do laundry, go back, tan. Just kidding. We weren't doing that. But yeah, man, 2019, I got my certification, and that's another first. So it was like roughly a year I was working. I was doing band work, everything in the house. Roughly a year goes by, and now here I am with this like plethora of knowledge for fitness. And I wanted to promote that to other people. So I was obviously getting interested in training. My biggest closest influence that was like my coach at the time was big into CrossFit, Olympic lifting, and on that path. So it was easy for me to get hyper involved in that area of fitness. And I mean, it was COVID, so when shops and gyms and everything opened back up, nobody was going to them. Nobody wanted to work at them anymore. So I shot my shot. I went in to a freaking LA Fitness and I got a job. And I had fun. There's obviously stuff I could go into on that. That's like a whole different podcast, but it was another first. It was another first for me. I had first time getting back in the gym. First time back on a shitty IG program. First time back on first time back in the gym in general. First time ever as a trainer applying for a job. And then the first kept coming from there. First client with results. Greater understanding about training people, learning and adapting in that field, as well trying to better myself and take care of my journey. And then, honestly, 2 years later, it was powerlifting. It was my first time being introduced to it. I had a very close influence back in New York that just set the tone. He had the energy of a gym bro going to get a bicep pump, and he was going to yak 500, 600, 800 pounds around. And that got to me. I mean, he was such a genuine dude, too. Is such a genuine dude. He's still at it. He's a savage. Excuse me. And that was like my first taste of really feeling like I wanted to be like that dude. I wanted to do what that dude was doing. Granted, I don't know if I could get to 800 pounds, but I got to start somewhere, right? I just hit 4. Maybe I get 425. Maybe I get 450 one day. Maybe one day I'll lift 500 pounds off the ground. I just got chills saying that. It's like, looking back at it now, it's a blessing in disguise, for real. Because, I mean, 500 pounds now doesn't seem like all that much to me at times. But then you're like, depending on the circumstance, you're like, damn, that's 500 pounds. That's a lot of weight. Few humans get to that weight. Unless you watch, that's y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, 500 pounds, like that's no joke. So I think the real important thing here is learning that firsts are not ends. Because that's what I always used to think of them as. I always used to think I got to first do this so I can end up doing this. Or achieving X, Y, and Z. And that's like, to me now, that's like an unhealthy way to think about it, because you really just want to be able to do what's necessary of you. You don't want to have to force yourself to do something that you don't want to. You want to force yourself to stay in the game and stay in long enough to achieve what you said you wanted to achieve. And do the things you said you wanted to do in order to achieve that goal, whatever it might be that you said. And your first time doing something in fitness is not the first time it's been done. And I'm saying it like this because I do see so many people every day come into the gym, leave the gym, stop going to the gym, end their relationship with the gym. But they haven't even given it the time or the effort to really see if the change that's going to be brought by going to do this thing will be substantial enough to keep me back and going, and substantial enough to make me actually happy and proud of the results that I'm garnering. You know. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's the long game. Yes, it's tough. No one wants to do it. But it's necessary. And if you have the slightest of goals to go into the gym or to try and gain results that the gym can bring you, then I'm here to highly, highly recommend the gym. Because it's probably saved my life more times than I can count. In college, through my first bouts of depression, through my starting points of wanting to be a trainer, to wanting to be a powerlifter, to wanting to coach powerlifters. It's a world of firsts. And in my first 5 years now, back in the game, I'm still hitting first. So yes, I've done so much in the fitness world, but I'm still achieving first. And that's a beautiful message. I mean, that right there is beautiful. The fact that you can be in it so long and have done so much and have seen so much and have helped countless amounts of people achieve their goals. It's probably the first that keep me coming back, honestly. It's the first that had me striving for more. It's the first that create excitement for me to go back into the gym. It's the first that keep me going back to the gym so I can find another. And it all started with like one tiny goal and watching a few dozen YouTube videos, and boom. Now we're here. I mean, my third year in powerlifting, I'm about to do my third meet, fourth technical meet. I'm about to hopefully hit the 400-pound mark from since I started powerlifting, which means that I've added almost 400 pounds to my total in 3 years. That's close to 150 pounds a year. And I'm still not at my maxes. So if you're struggling, if you're having a hard time, if you're dissuaded, disheartened, 1 week out of the gym, 1 day out of the gym, 2 weeks out of the gym, All you got to do is go back. All you got to do is go back in that one time, and maybe that consistency starts again. Maybe that spark ignites again. And maybe you find that first time for achieving something, and it just domino affects you into more firsts, more new wins, more experiences. It's a beautiful thing. And I think that's why I originally got into coaching. Because I wanted other people to see that it's not all smoke and mirrors. It's all iron and mirrors. All right. I think this was a great first episode back. This was a cool topic. I honestly had a lot of fun talking about it. I would love to talk about it more, but if you guys have questions or want to hear anything, please don't hesitate to comment. Drop a comment in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe if you like it, and keep checking in on all my stuff. I'll have this up on Spotify by the end of the week. Hopefully today or tomorrow I can get it edited. And I'll have the YouTube video up shortly thereafter, so you guys can, watch me while I talk to you. But let me know if this connected with you. Let me know where you are on your journey and what you're trying to achieve. Because I would love to hear that. And I would love to see more people speak up about their experience like this. And I hope it made you think, most importantly. So, until next time, I am your boy, Coach Nick Ando. Peace, love, and protein. I will see you guys on the next episode. Until then, have the best day of your life. I'm Ando. Take care.